Okay, so we are facing off against a dinosaur tribal deck. Turn 1 ramp is far too common these days, but luckily we do have an answer for it, and in the next turn as well. It just would be nice to get the Marchesa out before we start doing all this, but that's the best we can do when you go second. Sometimes you have to just deal with what you're given. At least we can slow them down quite a bit here. Killing ramp per turn is really good, and it might frustrate them enough. It's tempting to maybe go for Marchesa next turn and then Thoughtseize, but yeah, just goes to show enough removal to kill early rocks is so important, and I think that's something that newer players struggle with. Just cheap, efficient removal that doesn't look too attractive, but as you can see, you know, a lot of people will mulligan till they have a turn 1 elf, so you need to have 1-drop kill spots to deal with this, and artifact removal is so good for rocks as well. So if you don't already do that, I would highly recommend putting them into the deck. Hello, my name's Josh, and welcome to the channel. Today we're looking at one of the new cards from Thunder Junction, Marchesa, Dealer of Death. It's essentially a Grixis good stuff deck because it wants you to commit crimes. Crimes involve any card that targets opponents, anything they control, and cards in their graveyards. So it's a nice way to kind of shortcut anything that involves looking at something, targeting something, touching something basically. The mana required in the deck is quite intensive. It kind of says spells in your deck cost 1 more, but if you do, then you get to look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other in your graveyard. So there's 2 directions we can go in. You can make this more Reanimator, which I personally haven't, but that's an interesting direction. That would be cool to see another time. The past Marchesas did deal with Resurrection a bit more. This one is just more value because we're going to look at the top 2 cards, put one into your hand. So it's going to basically give you an extra card. So it's going to be pretty nice to go long. Some of the cool cards that synergize with this include a couple of new ones. So Gisa, or Gisa, I think. The Hellraiser is kind of ludicrous. War 2, pay 2 life. Just to target her is basically hexproof. Gives skeletons and zombies +1/+1. And Menace, which is quite good by itself because whenever you commit a crime, you create 2 rogue zombies. It only triggers once each turn, but you're basically creating 2 3/3s, which is kind of ludicrous actually. I faced this in 1v1, and it is horrendous to deal with. So horrendous. We also have Intimidation Campaign, which I really like. So when it comes in, each opponent loses 1, you gain 1 and draw a card. That's already pretty decent, but whenever you commit a crime, you can return this to your hand, which means you can then do it over and over again. I like the synergy here. And I like the way it doesn't actually loop with itself, because when it comes in, it doesn't actually do any targeting to your opponent. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Definitely like this one. Not got too many cards from the new set, but the ones we have got, Gisa and Intimidation Campaign, let's see how well those do. I think this is going to be a really fun deck. And if you know the channel, you know that I absolutely love Grixis. Grixis is one of my favorite color combinations, and that's why, you know, you have to have 1 bolus at least. Got Sauron as well, and Lord Xander, which is going to be interesting to see if it pulls a lot of aggro. But remember, when piloting the deck, it is very mana intensive, so that's exactly why I've got 1 Power Stone in here, and Key to the Archive, even though the 1 Power Stone doesn't give you mana to initially be able to cast Marchesa. It's nice just to be able to have something that gives you a little bit of an outlet for the triggered ability. Let's see how well we do today. So we are facing a mono blue Brewback deck. Now, there could be a number of different things they could have it as, but we'll have a look. So whenever they make us mill, we mill double that, basically, which is kind of scary. I think we want to go for a red-black source here, and then Wayfarer's Bauble as well. Blood Crypt at the front, nice, okay. Now, there was an argument there. We could have gone for the Striker Rich turn 1 to go for the turn 2 Ristic, but I think this is fine as well. Marit Lage's Slumber. So whenever they play a Snow permanent, they can mill us for 2, and they can also scry 1. Yeah, okay. Looks like they missed... They didn't... Okay, so it looks like they didn't want to go for the Brewback that turn. Fair enough. Lots of removal going in the graveyard, which is kind of sad, but Dark Lake Shores. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go for Ristic here, and then next turn we might be able to go for bonus Dragon God if they tap out, and then that might be game, to be honest. So early game setup seems fine. Replicating Ring. If they tap out, okay, they might regret that. And well, actually, they've got 1 blue open, so they've already milled us for 10. It's a lot harder to mill us in this format. Alright, let's see if we can resolve big Nicol Bolas. And we do. And I'm not too worried about the crab, so I'm just going to draw and make them exile something. Sleep is exiled. Okay, let's just hope they don't have mass manipulation, because I think we would probably not be able to deal with that so well. Oh, they've got a Sword of Body and Mind. But they only have 1 mana, so they can't actually equip it. And I think, to be honest, I think we might have them here. Especially with the River's Rebuke. Wow, they got super unlucky. Sleep and a Petitioner. So maybe it was a Petitioner's deck. What are we going to get rid of their final card? And it was a River's Rebuke. So that was really lucky that we did that, to be perfectly honest. Because if they had drawn an extra land, they would have gone for the Rebuke, bounced all of our things. But still, they would have been fairly behind. And here comes Bruvak. So if the Cancrix hits us, they're going to mill us for 20. And we have 10. Yeah. So that is a hell of a lot of mill, but I think we just River's Rebuke here, given that we have the mana. Get rid of all their stuff. And we haven't even had the time to cast Marchesa yet, which is not always something we want to see when we're trying to showcase, but yeah, she just we've just had pretty much everything else a lot more efficient than her currently. So that's something to be said about Marchesa. She is very, very solid, but she's good late game, I suppose, when you have all the mana open to be able to cast her, play a spell that targets, and then also pay the 1 to draw a card. So they've actually gone and gained control of Nicol Bolas. Okay, well, they're not going to be too happy about this when we could just phase it, or we'll see. We'll make them exile more things. Okay. So maybe now's a good time for Marchesa. Return the Bolas back to its owner's hand, and we can also pay the 1 now. So yeah, we get to kind of finish them off with a single activation of Marchesa and a spell. I love it. Right, this is quite a good starting hand, I have to say. I think what I'll do is I'm going to go for the Delta first, and then Thoughtseize turn 2, just because we don't really have much else anyway to be doing. And yeah, I guess we'll go for the Xander's Lounge. Get a Triland on turn 1's nice. And then I guess we'll just take a look in the hand. Maybe get rid of a rock. That would be nice. Or something annoying. Bolt, Motherlode, Anger of the Gods. We'll get rid of the Planeswalker. That's the hardest one to kind of deal with. Especially, we only have 1 Dark Intimations. They've foretold something. Go for the Black Market Connections, given that we know they have the 4 damage spell in their hand. So we don't just want to chuck Marchesa into that. Shadow Spear. Sauron. Okay, so they're going to be in quite a bit of trouble soon. In fact, next turn when we get Sauron, it's so the question is, do we just 1, 2, 4, 5? I think let's make them try and get rid of Gisa first. And because these are actual zombies as well, it means that Gisa gives them a power boost. So if they try and use the 4 damage bolt here, it's going to be countered because it has ward 2 and pay 2. So yeah, So they have to pay 2 and 2 life. Okay. And spend the whole turn getting rid of her. Good. Brazen Borrower. And that means, yeah, actually, we'll resolve Sauron here. Nice. And, okay, apparently winning with every which way but Marchesa. Facing the brand new Kellen with debatably, I'm pretty sure we have a God Hand here. Ragavan into potentially turn 2 Black Market Connections. I don't really know how they could get back from that, but we'll see. Avacyn's Pilgrim. They will most likely block, but if they do, it means they don't get turn 2 Kellen. Okay. Damn it, they always seem to have blockers for that these days. So because he has 3 toughness, and we have Yahenni's expertise, I'm kind of tempted to maybe not go for Marchesa next turn, and just go for connections. Yeah, they got pretty lucky with that. Shame we didn't have removal, but it's all good. Sauron. So the Black Market Connections with Sauron synergy again. See how this goes. If we draw a natural land next turn, that would be good. Rex Sage. So they've basically had perfect... I mean, we thought we had a God Hand. Clearly not. Clearly not. I don't actually see any synergy with Kellen so far, though. Unless they're just using it as some kind of Voltron enabler. Casting spells from anywhere other than the hand. Intriguing. So now we get a blue source. That's nice. So we can actually do Marchesa or Prosper, which I think is better because we have Yahenni's expertise in hand. Extinction event, that's going to make them think twice about going for their Kellen, which is odd CMC versus our even. If they do play it, the event hits Rex Sage and Kellen. And they have another removal spell. That is pretty annoying, I have to say. Are you serious? They played those two knowing we had Extinction event. I have to say that is a little bit peculiar, unless I didn't know the timings of Prosper. You can still play it in your next turn. So yeah, that is a bit weird. And they foretold something here as well. I guess I'd like to think if they kill Marchesa, let's draw a card here. Maybe we get a land. So we can't feign anything, but okay, fine. Is this going to be the board wipe? And if not, we have Yahenni's expertise, which means Marchesa doesn't die from it, which is nice. So it's always nice to have board wipes that complement your commander. Stuff that deals 3 damage to each thing is perfectly fine. Gear Hulk. And that's going to kill Marchesa. Okay. So you just draw another card. That is pretty annoying, I have to say. Let's hopefully get a land here. Okay. I think we'll go for this study just to optimize our mana, even though it does risk us not getting a land. But it does mean that having 6 mana would mean that we can use Invasion of Fiora, Bibblethorpe. Sure thing. So I can kind of see the synergy with Kellen has finally emerged. Land on top is perfect. See if we can give the Elspeths... Oh, damn, they've got Ward 2. Yeah, okay, fine. So we luckily did have 2 mana, and that's fine. I panicked there. And then next turn we get to look in their hand and then exile their graveyard, which I believe will be useful, especially if Kellen wants to cast stuff from the graveyard. But we shall see. Once of future. Okay, so they're going to give it protection from blue and black. 7-8. Oh my. That is quite threatening, I have to say. And then now they can Savell 2 and cast something from the graveyard. They've had a pretty lucky game. And they're going to cast Into the North. Gives us another card. So not necessarily dead, so maybe going for Sauron is good, because then... Oh, but then he makes black cards, doesn't he? Conduit of Worlds. We basically need blockers. Destroy all non-legendary creatures. I guess that's it, isn't it? Okay. So that deals with the Gear Hulk. Have to be very careful with Invasion of Fiora, by the way, because if you're going to go up against a deck with Tempt, it means that your opponent will be able to have legendary creatures on cards that don't necessarily look legendary, so be careful with that, definitely. Okay, so they're going to give it +2. +2. So it's 5/5. That's going to be pretty annoying, I have to say. So we can't target it. How do we get around protection from blue and black? I guess we have to try doing... I guess we have to try going underneath. Okay. Lifelink would be good, but... yeah. I don't know about this. We're basically 2 hits away from death. And the Sauron can only be dealt with by sacrificing a legendary artifact or creature, which they do have. A board wipe would take care of both of our guys. Do they want to do that? Also, I'm very tempted to, if we do get an orc, definitely attack in. Oh, jeez. So they're gonna. We need a board wipe again. Need to draw a card. Crucius. We need something big here. You may cast a permanent spell with lesser mana value from your hand without paying its mana cost. Okay. Claim Jumper. So we get even more cards and resources. Infernal Grasp. We need a red spell that kills this. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So many angels. Now they're going to hit us. How do we get back from this? -3, -3. Gives 2 life. That would protect us from the Kellen, but then we still have to deal with all these other angels. I don't know if that's possible, but we'll see. The flying is going to be an issue. How do we get around this? Protection from red and green. We'll see how this goes. Give it to this guy. Let's go for them. They're going to double block the Sauron. Interesting. Okay. Fine. Which means we can now use the Virtue on the Angel, which means we go to 7. So we get one more chance of surviving, maybe. Depends what Kellen gets, really. That sword has really made things kind of annoying here. So what can he do? Draw a card, discard a card. Exile a card, so plot it. And then you can cast it with Kellen, get free stuff. Okay. Can we survive? Who knows? The fact they got 3 angels last turn, yeah, that was a huge difference. It meant we just couldn't... They blocked our Sauron. They blocked the Sword of Fortune Frontier. Tricky. And the verdict was put away. Okay. Do they have any removal here? We are desperate for answers. Swords actually gives us life. Which is kind of funny when you think about it. It means we last one more turn. They probably should have just let us have that hit, right? Is that a bit weird? Is that a bit weird? Not sure. Let's see if Crucius can give us anything good. Somehow we're alive again. That is very peculiar. Also, if they use the swords again, we get to stay alive again. So, I'm not really sure how I feel. So there's no point equipping the sword if they've got the swords. Ironic, sword and swords. If we get rid of the geezer, and then we get something greater, we might be able to get a... There we go. That's exactly what we wanted. So, this has been a very technical game. At least it's been interesting. If they give him a power boost, we die. Any form of sword, power boost, extra bit of damage is kind of unlikely in the colours, but who knows? Wow, they actually had a farewell. Okay. Do they have a power boost? Okay, down to 1. So let's see what they get. So they could, in theory, definitely go for the swords equal to power, but we would gain 3. So they're going to give us 3 life again. Okay. They're going to pay. What else are they going to do? Great henge. Man. They're going to pay for that as well. Which probably suggests they don't really have anything to do there, maybe? We shall see. We shall see here. Can it resolve? Do they have a counterspell? Dovin's Veto. That's a shame. So they had a spell. They basically had a thing for every single eventuality there. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So we're going to lose this one, but it was pretty close. The fact they had literally an answer for everything kind of really kind of sucks there. But I mean, what would this have to be if we get? I don't think there's anything we can really do here. Oh man, Molten Collapse. If we had 1 more mana, we could have actually done... No, nothing. No, okay, fine. Yeah, they took us out. Interesting game, but they basically had a commander the whole game that we couldn't stop. So, apart from me not drawing the right spells, yeah, who knows? I could have gone differently in another reality. I'm going to quickly interrupt this video to tell you this video is not sponsored. And because of that, the channel does need help from people like you. So if you do want to support the channel in your own way, you can like and subscribe, which is completely free. But if you want to go the extra mile, you can donate to the channel via my Ko-fi link below or become a channel patron. And if you become a channel patron, you can get a custom video of your choice. Check out the details below. Slightly risky hand. We don't have red mana. But I do want to keep it because we have 2 removal spells and a draw spell. So if we get black and or red, we should be okay. Really? There we go. Got the black source. We'll go for a black-red shock, which is lovely because it's always on the top. And we are down to 20, but hey, look at that, look. Another red source. Okay. Kind of tempting to go for the Worn Power Stone next, just because it gives us the extra mana to do the Marchesa stuff, but yeah, let's do that. So we risk giving them an elf for 1 turn, but we do have 3 kill spells after, so we can kind of go for Marchesa next turn, kill one of the things, and then maybe draw a card? Journey to Eternity, okay. So that's annoying. We kind of want to kill that, really. That's actually really annoying. Because if we kill that, they'll still have the mana for the Lama Elves. And if we kill Lama Elves, it comes back and this flips. So I think I don't know. That's actually really annoying. I really don't want the Journey to Eternity to flip. So I'm going to spend this turn to kill the Journey. And we get a land to our hand. Okay. Yeah. So that's not too bad. We still have kill spells for your rock, so they can go 3, 4, 5 mana into your rock. Having a land in hand isn't so exciting, but you can see how the one Power Stone just works really well to empower us to keep drawing and stuff. So they're going to Death Sprout, which kills Marchesa. Okay. Pretty annoying. I mean, they already have the mana, so I think we just go for Marchesa again. Cut down the elf. But yeah, all this is possible because the one Power Stone. Okay. Iteration. So now we're kind of like in this position where as long as she's alive, we can kind of keep just every turn playing some removal. Extra 1 to draw a card. That's quite nice. Rusco. Ugh. Oh, that's dirty. Dirty card. 3 mana up. Okay. So the nice thing about this is the spell doesn't have to resolve for this to work. We're losing a lot of life to our own lands, which kind of sucks. Two mana. Let's try and... Do we want to return Roscoe? That was probably a bad idea, to be honest. I suppose we get to get a card back. Dark Ritual. Yeah, that was probably the worst thing I could have done. Because now they're going to get another clock. Interesting. Yeah. Basically, everything they've done here is kind of good against us when we're losing life. Hard. And they're just... I don't know. The fact that we had to get rid of the Journey to Eternity really hindered us there. Because it would have been nice to just kill the elf. But again, it's down to our own timings. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. And they're going to go for Rusco again. Which means they now have enough mana to go for the Yurok. But if they do go for the Yurok, we will just kill it with a bit of Triumph. And they're looking in the graveyard, which is interesting. Does that mean they have a way to revive something? Maybe we can use Cling to Dust on it? No, they're just going to go for Yurok. Okay. I think we will discard the Elspeth's Nightmare. Because they don't have anything we can target, and we're going to draw a card. I need something that's going to be great. Okay, there we go. There we go. That should be decent now. They've got no mana. We've got the Bolus. We can kill the Rusco. They've got the 2 clocks still, but we'll see. Oh, the command can take care of one as well. I think we go for the Bolus here. Kill this guy because I do not want to be draining. Virtue of Persistence, nice. Okay, that's actually pretty cool as well.
Defiance has consequence.
Now, because the Sultai, I never feel safe. They could have any number of cards that just kind of just win the game outright. And they haven't quit yet, which is a big indicator that they've still got something good. So ideally, what we'd like to see is the Midnight Clock being pumped with some mana, which makes our Prismari command so much better. So Timeless Witness is going to return something to their hand. And that is a bit of a shame because we do have the Cling to Dust in our hand. But Death Sprout, okay. That does require black, black, green. So yeah, they do have the mana. That's a real shame. That's a real shame. If we had one black open, we could have stopped that whole thing going off. So, with that being said, let's get the Swamp. And Death Sprout just keeps ramping them over and over again. And the annoying thing here is the Timeless Witness is able to come back again. So we're going to want to exile it with the Cling to Dust, which does actually gain us some life as well. And now this is flipped. It means whenever we cast a spell, they can't cast something with the same mana cost until our next turn, which is just lovely. I think what I'm going to do is spend this turn just setting up the next one. So, destroy artifact, 2 damage, destroy this. So they can't cast 3 drops. Exile the Timeless Witness. Stop them getting that back. I've always loved Cling to Dust. It's so good. We could even go for Marchesa again. So they can't cast 3 drops and 1 drops. But Yurok is 5, basically. So is this going to be good enough to stabilize? Or are they going to have many other things here? No idea. It's never safe against Sultai, especially because essentially Emergent Ultimatum is a 1-card combo. If they can resolve Emergent Ultimatum, they will most probably win the game. It's highly unlikely that they don't. So they can tap Marchesa, even though the Flyer is the one that's going to block against bowlers. That's a bit peculiar. Let's see what they exile here. If they exile a card from hand, it means we can do pretty much whatever we want. Okay, interesting. So they like the card in their hand.
Minds crumble.
Wow, okay. And the interesting thing there is they didn't really care too much. It's a shame when a game ends, I wish it revealed the hidden information in the hand. But the fact that Gisa was 5 mana means that the Yarok also couldn't be cast. But what we could have done as well, because we get zombies whenever we target, we probably would have just made them sack with Chainer's Edict. And Chainer's Edict is nice in this deck because it has flashback. And therefore, if you put one in the graveyard with Marchesa, you can still use it again. And it also triggers commit a crime. So this is a really nice card to put in the deck. So here comes the screams from 1,000 players saying, oh, you didn't really play Marchesa, and other critiques like that. Well, as I suspected, she really is just kind of like a card booster, a little synergy piece. She's not actually the focal point of the deck, which is interesting. Some commanders do sit in the background or stand against a wooden beam in this case and offer just a little bit of support to help push your deck above and beyond. With that in mind, I'm not saying she's a bad card. It's just not a very exciting ability. It's kind of a boring ability, to be perfectly honest. And I think people that will use this card are people who are just in love with the Marchesa cards of the past, which is fine in terms of the character, not abilities, because the abilities are very different. It's just perfectly fine. It's just an inconspicuous card. It might even avoid a bit of removal. It might even attract some that will save you other things. I think in terms of this particular deck, the strength of this lies in just the strength of the core of the deck. There's nothing really that I've put in that actually makes it different from other Grixis shells as such. I did tweak a few things from other Grixis builds, but it's a card that already synergizes with what you're doing. It's the same argument I have with Simic commanders that reward you for playing lands and drawing cards. You can slot them into any deck. This is kind of a Grixis card that you can put into any deck, and that's perfectly fine. It's cool. It does its thing. I'll forgive it because it's not broken. It's not busted, which I love. I love cards that are just fine, balanced, and yeah, they feel cool. They feel cool to play. There's nothing really that stands out in the deck that well, apart from, I guess, cheap targeting things, Duress, Thoughtseize, Inquisition, just anything cheap to synergize with this to draw a card. Like, imagine Thoughtseize was 2 mana, and it said, discard your opponent's card, draw a card. That would be very, very pushed for 2 mana, especially with card selection. But yeah, use it as a little buff to your probably already crazily powerful Grixis deck, because Grixis is already very, very well supported. So yeah, there's that. It's just a nice positive deck for once. Opponents I faced were kind of varied, which is nice. I will note that I'm playing on Sunday afternoon, so there's not as many sweats as Saturday and Friday night. So there's that to be taken into account too. But I hope you enjoyed the video and give it a go yourself. Deck list below. Support the channel by liking and subscribing. And you can become a channel member via Patreon, which means you get your own custom video, which is something you should definitely check out if you want to be immortalized on the internet. Cool. Did you know that you can help my channel by watching another one of my videos? Go ahead, you know you want to.